All right, well, we are learning tonight that President Trump today met with the VA Secretary nominee, Dr. Randy Jackson, Rear Admiral, amid growing calls for him to step aside. Jackson says he will not withdraw his nomination to lead the VA and is strongly denying the wave of inappropriate conduct allegations, including that he crashed a car after a boozy Secret Service party. But some Democrats, including Senator John Tester, I don't even know her, say the allegations are too serious to ignore. Watch.
20-some people who got a hold of us and said, we've got a problem, this doctor has a problem, because he hands out prescriptions like candy. In fact, in the White House, they call him the candy man.
Hot. That's so weird. You would think there'd be so much more vetting for a physician like that. Now, despite the mounting controversy, the White House says they are standing by Ronnie Jackson.
Dr. Jackson's record as a White House physician has been impeccable. In fact, because Dr. Jackson has worked within arm's reach of 3 presidents, he has received more vetting than most nominees. Very thorough investigation and vetting process has taken place.
So what's the deal here? Can Ronnie Jackson's nomination weather this latest batch of storms? Let me go to my Sweet and Sour Party panel. She's an attorney and executive director of the Lawfare Project. Brooke Goldstein is here, along with the host of You're Welcome and author of Dear Reader, a very sneaky inside look into North Korea. It's Michael Malice. And Dow Jones Newswire's chief editor, Glenn Hall, is here. So Ronnie Jackson could be the subject of a Motley Crue song. They're saying that he is Dr. Feelgood. What say you, Glenn Hall?
You know, this is politics, so there are 2 sides, right? So on the one hand, you've got a president who is prone to nominate people who he's comfortable with, who might be somewhat unconventional candidates and not have gone through the full vetting process that past administrations might have put them through. On the other hand, we're in a midterm election cycle, and there is extra scrutiny being given, an extra opportunity for Democrats to poke holes in nominees. So I think these 2 things collide and create a tension that may not have existed under other circumstances.
Oh, it's interesting. How did he make it into the White House if he has all these peccadillos on his farm?
This Candyman remake is very far removed from the original. But the Democrat, if he's going to start spitting out bees, I'm really going to be concerned. But the Democrats want to win. They want to be able to tell President Trump no, because they've been very bad at doing that. They won some elections, the Senate seat in Alabama, the congressional seat in Pennsylvania. But for them to be able to turn him down and then maybe build on that and take out Pompeo, this would be something they could bring back to their base and say, look, we're delivering results against this guy. And that would look very bad for the president.
I mean, but the obstruction comes with some of the lower nominees and some of the federal court judges and some of the other roles that require congressional oversight and approval. This one is really interesting because I think we're getting caught up in some of the details of Ronnie Jackson's life that maybe should have come out much sooner. But, you know, I think one of the biggest questions is, can someone like this handle the VA?
How has someone like this, with such a history, apparently, allegedly, of drinking and crashing cars and handing out Ambien and all these terrible things, how did he serve as doctor to the President of the United States for 2 or 3 administrations?
3 administrations, yes.
3 administrations. I mean, don't you think these things would have come out? He has been vetted, they say, more than any other person has been vetted. He went through 4 background checks. One's an FBI background check. It's like we are now being duped, where we don't have the right to hear what this man's policies are. We're supposed to now talk about, you know, whether or not he has a drinking problem. It just seems to me cliche. It seems set up. And the shame is that this is the Veterans Affairs nomination. We have a bureau that needs our help. It needs reform. I'd like to hear what this man's ideas are on reform.
Yeah, no, there are plenty of other institutions within Washington that could crumble and disappear overnight, and you would never miss them, like the Commerce Department or the Education Department. Oops. But, you know, this is one the VA actually does require some oversight because you do have quite a few veterans. Well, we're going to talk with the panel a little bit later. First up, we've got some breaking news. Michael Cohen, President Trump's personal attorney, will plead the 5th in that California defamation suit brought by adult film star Stormy Daniels. Cohen claims it's because of his ongoing criminal investigation here in New York. Now, add to that, sources now telling Fox News Rudy Giuliani has taken over talks with special counsel Robert Mueller, and they're reportedly discussing a possible sit-down with the president. President Trump reportedly remains resistant to the idea. So, should Trump talk to Mueller or keep his beautiful lips zipped. What do you think, Glenn Hall?
This is complicated for the president. They have been back and forth on this issue for a while. We've never heard directly from President Trump other than the notion that he is innocent and he wants to proclaim his innocence. So I think at this point in time, it's a big question about whether a new precedent is being set and whether the requirements are met for him to meet with the special counsel. And we don't know fully what they want to ask about and whether the president should be subjected to that. So there's a lot of two sides to this one as well. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but, you know, and I've said this from the beginning, Giuliani is an interesting character because he's loyal to the president. Right. He knows politics. He also knows the law. And he knows Robert Mueller. So he can talk to him in a different way than maybe some of the president's other personal attorneys.
But him and Chris Christie also know prosecutorial dirty tricks. And, you know, if you're talking to Mueller, who has this open-ended investigation, who just has to deliver some bodies, anything Trump says obviously can and will be used against you. It's like that old line, you can talk your way into an arrest, you can't talk your way out of them. I don't see how this would help President Trump in any way, as opposed to whatever words he's used could be twisted by Congress, maybe not in a legal sense, but certainly in a political sense.
Is Giuliani the savior here?
I don't know that there is going to be a savior other than the elections.
See, I think Giuliani can go in and say, you know, when is this thing going to end?
That's what he says he wants to do. I mean, I think it's really good news that he's on the team. Like you said, he's credible. He's a credible politician. He's a credible lawyer. He is not an enemy of Mueller's. He said he holds him in high regard, and Trump has said he's on a witch hunt, so he has the possibility to be this mediator. But, you know, the intentions in the meeting were to find out, you know, why Trump had the meetings he had, why his team had those meetings. And it's necessary because if you're going to get rid of these charges of collusion, and collusion is not a crime, by the way, yeah. Okay, it's just meeting someone. It's what you did in that meeting. You want to show what your intent was when you had those meetings, and do they underlie any type of criminal element of another crime? Okay, and I think what Giuliani wants to do is say, no, these were innocuous. This is why we have them. Let's put it to
narrow
bed.
your scope. Tell us exactly what you want to know. Tell us your timeline, and we'll see if we can work something out. But I think parameters for both sides are fair because Michael's right. It's too open-ended. There's too much money. There's no timeline, and Mueller can pretty much do whatever he wants.
The danger here that Giuliani needs to try to constrain in his role is what is Mueller looking for? What is he fishing for?
Yes.
What does he want to get the president to talk about that may not be known at this time? And so those are limitations in terms of the investigative scope that Giuliani needs to defend.
And you know what? You talk about a fishing expedition. Rosenstein can drive him to the sporting goods store.
It's going to be safer for him to talk to Kim Jong-un than it's going to be for him to talk to Mueller.
That's a very interesting point. Michael Malice, that's why we hire him. Pay him very handsomely. The party panel returns a little. So is this impeachment push a suicide mission for Democrats come November? The party panel is back to discuss. Brooke Goldstein, Michael Malice, and Glenn Hall. Brooke, I will start with you because there are people. Tom Steyer is pouring tens of millions of dollars into impeachment efforts, town halls, and litmus tests for Democrats running for re-election and seeking office. And it's opened up a split in the party.
And as Harry Reid is saying, it's hurting the Democratic Party, okay? It's not getting them the numbers. Impeachment is a very serious thing. And I think Americans are very weary of hearing it over and over again. I mean, the ads that Tom Steyer is funding, telling us he's destroying the country on the brink of nuclear war, impeach, impeach. No president in American history has faced calls of impeachment within his first year. How can you take them seriously when that's all that we hear? There's been no evidence of anything that they're charging. And frankly, you know what? It's not working. The whole resistance, the calls almost for violence.
Yeah, and
Democrats win when they're moderate. And that's what Harry Reid knows because of 2006.
Well, good candidates win with good ideas regardless of party. Sometimes crappy candidates win with really bad ideas. Yeah. But enough about Obamacare. Let's discuss, though, the chaos of this and how in your estimation, that might be good for the country.
Well, I think it's hilarious that, you know, after the Trump election, everyone has gone insane, especially on the left. And now you have people like Maxine Waters who are doing everything they can to make Mike Pence president. I never would have thought they'd be such strong endorsements of Pence, who's this hardcore religious conservative, because, first of all, they would never have the votes in the Senate.
A popular one.
Right. They would never have the votes in the Senate to remove him from office to begin with, no matter how well they do in the Senate elections.
And he's not going to quit in shame.
Right. And then the replacement isn't Maxine Waters or Nancy Pelosi.
Or
it's
Hillary
Mike
Clinton.
Pence. Exactly. And what they should remember, surprisingly they don't, is that in 2000, Hillary got into the Senate by all the sympathy over the impeachment.
Yes.
So this is not going to be a win
That is a great point. And history has looked on Bill Clinton actually very fondly. And for years, he's through two-term presidents, he was seen as the elder statesman of the Democratic Party and a legend until this last one where, you know, his wife turfed her own election despite his advice.
Leaving that aside, there are sort of a high bar of impeachment, right, that is always political. And it always starts in the House, where the majority is stronger than in the Senate. That's the historic pattern. And then in the Senate, it doesn't come through. And so that's an exoneration, in effect, when it doesn't actually come to action. So what does that mean? You know, President Clinton, when he was impeached, did not get removed from office. So he was, in a sense, exonerated.
Yeah.
The same thing could happen here with a President Trump if impeachment goes forward, and I think that's what Harry Reid was warning against.
You make a good point, because the House looks like a bunch of petulant children, especially if the Democrats control it and really push for impeachment, and then the Senate looks like the upper chamber where we're able to come to chin-stroking, rational conclusions.
But the important thing here is on what basis are they impeaching?
Yeah.
They have nothing
They don't
to
like him.
bring forward at this
No,
point in
Harry
time.
Reid said he's not a nice man. That's impeachable. If you're not nice, you need to be removed from office, because not nicest is not okay. All right, well, if you missed it, the internet yesterday, it had a few fissures. This morning, Kanye West proclaimed his love for Donald Trump on the president's favorite social medium, Twitter. The contrarian rapper wrote, "You don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals, and we have the right to independent thought." Afterward, the president tweeted, "Thank you, Kanye. Very cool." Quite subdued. Kanye also tweeted a picture of his MAGA hat, signed by the president, and seemed to announce his candidacy for president in 2024. And just a couple of hours ago, Kanye also took a jab at former President Obama, tweeting, "Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing in Chicago changed." The reactions from fans have been largely negative, but Kanye's Chicago protege, Chance the Rapper, came to his mentor's defense and said, "Not all black people have to be Democrats." So are we seeing the beginning of a major cultural shift? I will ask you first. I think Kanye's twist, I know he has been attacked and maligned as someone who is mentally unstable. He's actually saying some very rational things, that he will not be bullied into a series of thoughts and proclamations by the mob.
And also, Kim, his wife, came to his defense today saying that all you people gang up on him, I'm going to... But let's remember, him and Kim gave a lot of money to Hillary Clinton. They've had selfies with her.
Yeah.
So all he's saying is that all the denigration of Trump is ridiculous. But this all started with him praising Candace Owen if everyone has time, go look at the Rubin report between Candace and Blair White, which was a complete calamity in the social media event of 2017. But this doesn't mean he's anything. All it just means is he's giving cover for some people to like President Trump. And President Trump's got into office by being such an obnoxious badass that people didn't care what he stood for, but they liked who he got upset. And that's what Kanye's doing.
And you know what? Even if you hate the president, even if you disagree with 95% of his stances, you have to appreciate his ability to make people mad and to generate reactions. And that's what Kanye West is doing.
Yeah, and the controversy surrounding his comments is basically proving his point. He's saying if you're in Hollywood and you're not a lemming and you're not, kissing ASS for the Democratic Party, then you're going to be treated the exact way that I'm being treated right now. And his point was proved. And yes, his tweets are a stream of consciousness. He loves Trump, but he also loves ping pong.
He does.
And I don't like Kanye because of his tweets or because he likes Trump. I like him. because he's not a lemming, and I respect that.
No, it's one of the most counterculture things you can do in America right now is in any way voice support for the president. Shania Twain did the same thing. She was like, yeah, I probably would have voted for the president, and she was attacked, and then she went back on her original word, and I would love for people to stand up and grow a pair. And, you know, he talks about feeling energized. He talks about be afraid of nothing, move in love, not fear, and that is some very sound advice.
Look, I guess bold for him to stand out in defense of a president who many have thought he would have opposed. But on the other hand, I don't know where he stands at the end of all of this.
That's
because
great.
He walked it both lines. And what does it mean? It means that he is Kanye West. That's all it means.
And it means that, you know what, he's getting the last word, and he will be our next president.
And this is going to be snowballing in the weeks ahead. It's going to be hilarious.
I am so deeply entertained by the whole thing. I love that people on both sides are confused and angry. God bless chaos.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We will always adore this evening and this moment we've had together. Coming up, the economy.